Steve Kornacki's entered the room. I don't know if he's ready to talk to us yet. Are we ready? Okay, let's bring in the man of the hour, the man of the night, the man of hopefully not the whole week, Steve Kornacki.
Yeah, Nicole. So what we got here is we call this the first wave of exit polls. They're starting to come in, and I got to give the disclaimer, but it's very important. These exit polls are still being conducted in the battleground states. A lot of them are being conducted in non-Eastern time zone states. So what we have here, first of all, is very big picture, what I'm about to show you. And also, a lot of these numbers are subject to change. There's going to be subsequent waves of exit polls that come out through the night. So again, we're inside of an hour till we get to those first initial poll closings. We'll certainly get a lot more clarity with the actual results. But between now and then, maybe to whet your appetite, we can just look at 30,000 feet here at a few things. That is not at all where I wanted to go with that. Here we go. The most important issue, we asked folks, single most important issue. And right now, this is what's coming through in the exit poll nationally. Again, still being conducted. State of democracy was the most cited. This is, again, we give a list of issues to voters and we ask them what the single most important is. A little bit more than a third there, identifying state of democracy. Just behind that is the economy. Then you've got a little further back here, 14% is abortion. Immigration is 11%, 4% on foreign policy. So you can think of all the different stories, all the different controversies that have gone into those issues. But the electorate that we're looking at so far is telling us this is sort of how they prioritize those. We can also show you there's been a lot of question here. Kamala Harris, of course, is part of the Biden administration. She's the vice president. He was initially running. She's still part of the administration. Does that create headwinds for her with this election? So we ask again, Joe Biden's approval rating. Folks, we've got so far in the exit poll a couple different categories here, but strongly and somewhat approve. That's a 40%. I don't know if you can read that. It's a little light, but that's a 40% approval rating that Joe Biden has right now. Again, that's kind of consistent with what we've seen in polling all along. Low 40s. It's what scared Democrats about having him continue as the candidate when he got out of the race. Disapprove 45 and 14, nearly 60%. Again, that's what we're getting now, and that's pretty consistent with what the polling has been showing. And can also just show you this, asking folks, what time did they make up their minds in this thing? Was it recent? Was it long ago? A lot happened in the last week. Has that been on people's minds? So we ask that question, and you can see right here, 92% are telling us that it was more than a week ago that they made up their minds in this thing. Only 7% saying in the last week. Now, in a close race, that 7% can be crucial. But I think one of the bigger takeaways here, it's been a while. I think a lot of people have been kind of locked in and waiting for this moment, potentially, Nicole. So, again, that's about 30,000 feet with all the disclaimers. It's about to get real soon enough, but we wanted to share that with you.
What's so interesting, Alicia, is that the campaign's theory of the case was if the stakes could be elevated in the minds of voters, that if people understood our very democracy was on the line, that they would do better. And I think that's the first time I've seen the democracy on par with the economy as a top issue.
And you and I looked at each other and said we were both surprised by that democracy number being quite so large, even with all the disclaimers that we offered. But I also think there's the possibility that some folks who are motivated by Dobbs are acknowledging that a functioning democracy is necessary in order to protect some of those fundamental rights. Right. Since we sort of poo-pooed the exit polls, or at least put our disclaimers in. Let's talk about the fact that that comes on the heels of us questioning polls throughout this process, right? That you look at Wisconsin, 2022, Roe versus Wade is overturned by the Supreme Court. Then abortion just stops. Abortion access stops in Wisconsin. They're doing polling. Democrats are feeling good. Even their own polling was not capturing the number of voters who were newly animated by this issue, or the extent to which it was the issue that was able to move Republicans voters to Democrats. It was the issue that moved swing voters to Democrats. It was the issues that got voters off the couch. So I agree with you and you that we're going to continue to see that as we look at all of these results.
Now, can I completely go back on something I just said 10 seconds ago? I'm going to completely go back on what I said 10 seconds ago, because I'm going to read too much into the exit polling. And it's wrong, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Okay.
It's all we have right now.
It's a safe space, Cornell. You do you.
Thank you. That makes me feel good. Thanks for seeing me. If you look at the last midterm election, and on the question, there were several questions about what's the most important issue, what issues you're voting on. If you look at the voters who were most animated about democracy, Democrats, at least in the congressional battlegrounds, Democrats won those voters by better than 20 points.
Yeah.
Again, you should throw away early exit voting. But I got to tell you right now, if that's such a big issue, and given what I think historically Democrats have won that by, it's a very good sign for Democrats.
Is Steve Kornacki still here in the studio? I mean, I think a question, too, is that I've not seen democracy on par with the economy among a general electorate.
And I still don't believe it.
I mean, that kind of made me gasp. I mean, and because it was the campaign's theory of the case all along,
Yes.
that if the stakes could be raised and if the viewers understood kind of what all of us who marinated in it every day, who understand what it means to call back into active duty General Stanley McChrystal so that you could court-martial him. I mean, I worked in the White House and I had to follow that. I mean, but the voters are so informed and they're so smart. And in this election, they're waiting 3 hours to vote. That's also a vote that's not in there yet. Those are people standing in lines right now to vote.
Maybe it's something you told me a long time ago, and you said when you were at Bush, it's like, we're going to define what the race is going to be about. And maybe they've done a pretty good job of defining what the race is going to be about.
Well, actually, you know, that was an Aaron Sorkin line, too. That was Annette Benning saying on Election Day, people care about what I tell them to care about. And I think in this case...
I thought it was you.
No, it was me. It's always me quoting...
Great artist.
It's always me quoting somebody else. I sit down every day with a page of quotes. But it does suggest that, you know, sometimes events are so massive, and Dobbs may be that event that is so massive. Other times campaigns do a very skillful job at pushing issues forward, and it suggests that this campaign has done both. Realize the massive nature of Dobbs and the reaction that people don't talk about and go public with these tragic miscarriages or losses or health implications, but also that what the messages that were pushed out on democracy got through.
I think it's also, I mean, one of the things that's tricky about these exit polls when you ask somebody what's the most important issue, it's like, you know, if you get asked that, well, I put, you know, the economy is a little above this, but my third thing doesn't really matter to me at all. I'm really voting on these two. It's a very blunt instrument, right? That does not take anything away from it. And I think Alicia said something that's profound and true, which is that for a lot of voters, I think there are going to be a lot of voters who are going to have said in this set are going to have said abortion and democracy are kind of the same thing, that they think the Supreme Court is in the worst standing that's been in a very long time. It is seen as a corrupt...
Ever, since the question's been asked by Gallup.
And it is seen particularly as a corrupt institution. And so the corruption of the Supreme Court is a democracy issue. What this campaign did was campaigned really on two things: Donald and Dobbs. And in the broadest sense, meaning women's health, broadly defined. Dobbs as a placeholder for that, not just abortion rights, but women's reproductive health and women's health more broadly. And Donald Trump. And they snap together because people think that Trump is personally responsible for endangering women's health. But Donald, when you say we're campaigning on Donald, unfit, unhinged, unchecked power, those are all just code. Those are, democracy is the pleasant way we say that. We want to preserve democracy. What they campaigned on in a tougher way when they turned very contrasty was, they didn't have to say Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. What they said was unhinged, unstable, going to be unchecked. And then you had the backup of what I think of as still really the greatest October surprise of this cycle, was John Kelly deciding to call your husband on the phone and say not only that he was going to call him a fascist and say that he liked Hitler, but let him tape him, let Mike tape him. Because that thing, these generals have been saying these things about Trump to book authors on background for a while. For Kelly to get to the point where he was willing to go out and understand that a quote in the New York Times could be dismissed as fake news by millions of people, but his voice on tape couldn't be dismissed. It's very savvy, obvious in one way, but also savvy and ballsy, and not something that we've seen military leaders do very often. It gives you a sense of exactly how much of a threat Kelly thought he was. I think that at the moment when they were making the Harris campaign was making this negative argument about the threat he posed, to have Kelly drop that thing. I always thought for a year, if one of these generals comes out, it could really be important. I think it was really important when the story of this race is told. That will be huge.